Okay, welcome to Chapter 11 on NASIS, and what we're going to be talking about here in this chapter is all the other tables, the system tables that it takes to be able to make NASIS run. Just a brief rundown, and I'm looking at the first page of Chapter 11. So if you're looking at Chapter 11, this is what I'm talking about. The first two tables are your management tables, your project, and your TSS. That's basically the way we manage our workload, either by projects or by technical soil services. The legend, the mapping, the data mapping are your aggregated data that you're working on to publish. And then your point data is your site, pedon, transect, and site association. But however, in the NASIS 6.3, I want you to notice that we are now including the NCSS pedon lab data. And that's going to be a new table, and I'll be creating a video on this one soon. Then we go into our system tables, and the system tables are basically everything from area type on down. Some of these you won't see on your particular system, but suffice it to say there's two types here. Number one is the type, and you'll notice those by being area type, geomorphic feature type, milestone type, the vegetation classification type, project data type. All of these type tables, what they do is they allow us to control the domains or the choice lists that you see. And so geomorphic feature type will allow me to go in there and populate additions or edit the actual choice list. So that's what these types are. Area type is the exception because area type is part of your aggregated data, your spatial data. And this is where we maintain the MLRA and the non-MLRAs and the MLRA soil survey areas. And then, pardon me, in the actual area table, you'll notice that we've got the symbols and the names of each one of those particular area types that we're dealing with. So that's a slight difference from the other type tables that allow me to control a domain. Works very similar concept, because in essence an area type is a domain of the different types of areas. But suffice it to say that if you see type, that basically controls the choice lists that are available to you. Now then, the next set that I want to talk about are the ones that already reside in the Explorer, because you've got queries, reports, interpretations, calculations, validations, and then your interpretations. And so if you'll notice in the system tables, we've got the calculation, we've got the evaluation, and then coming down here we got properties, we got queries, we got reports, and we got rules. And so you can literally query into a table format and open the actual tables and look at that particular information for those particular Explorer features. All right. So you can query to load up all the calculations. You can also query to load up all the evaluations. You can also look at all the properties and the rules and the queries and the reports. So those are what those particular tables are for. Allows you to load those up, look at it in a table format, open them up for whatever purpose you may have. I'm not going to discuss the U.S. Forest Service tables because currently the Forest Service is not cooperating or not actively utilizing those tables. So don't be too concerned about those. A few of these other ones that you're not going to really ever use is the system, the domain group, and the unit of measurement. Those are particular tables that I use for, and other people use for more specific NASIS future environments. The NASIS site and the NASIS user. Those are two tables you should be fairly familiar with, because that allows you to open up and take a look at the various sites that are in NASIS and who are the users in NASIS. So you can query and look at that data also. And so then next is this metadata. And the metadata, distribution metadata, is the information about the exports that have been run. We'll go into more detail on this one here. Ecological Sites. For those of you who are not aware of it, we get a nightly feed from the Ecological Site Information System, commonly called ESIS. And ESIS provides us a choice of information, and it populates this particular table with all of the ecological site IDs and ecological site names that are contained in the ESIS database. Geomorphic feature type, I told you, is the choices for geomorphic features. The local plant table is where you go in and tag a national plant that is contained in the plant table, and you tag that one basically to your local plants. There's more details on that I'm not really interested in going into. Other vegetation type, classification type. This is the replacement for the FSG that was previously used in the populated in the component table. You now come in here and populate your forage suitability groups in the vegetative classification, and then that becomes a choice list that is then used in the component ecological site table. So we'll see that here in a minute. And then that basically rounds out soil series is the soil classification table. You can literally load up the soil series table with a particular soil series and look at the SC file for it. And then the quadrangle maps, we move these out of the area type because of the size, the immense size of this particular list of information. And so it now has its own location, its own table, own object, and the purpose of that is it only is used in the site table. So the site table is the only one that references this now. So it just makes a nice clean way of moving that stuff over and cleaning up the area type table. So that basically gives you a rundown on this information. What I wanted to show you was I've already showed you the area type, and here's the geomorphic feature type. I can come over here to the queries. I can scroll down to utilities. So this particular one is a utility report, and I can load up those particular geomorphic features. I'm just going to load them all up just so that you can see what's in here. 730 records. These are the records: anthropogenics, landforms, landscapes, and microfeatures. You don't normally see this way because the way you normally see it is by coming over to the table, and what you normally look at is the component geomorphic description, and it just so happens that that table is populated using the choice list that we select, that we populate in this particular geomorphic feature type. So it first comes here and is populated in this table, whether it be a landform or a landscape or a microfeature. And then now, once it's in here, it then becomes a choice list for what you're commonly used to seeing in the component geomorphic description. And that's the way all these type tables work. Milestone type, once again, there's a query for that. And then here are all the different milestones that are available. Other veg, I've got to remember where we've got the other veg at. I can come in here and load up all the other veggies. And so here are all the other veg types that you're going to be populating. You can look at this list. And we'll go back up here to forage suitability groups. And here are all the forage suitability groups that are being converted into the database. And so many of you will be, especially at the regional or the state office, will be utilizing this more frequently. And then project data type. This is the one that I use for populating the information that you're seeing in the project data type. Technical soil surveys, same thing. TSS by type. there are the types that are available. And as I said, I'm not going to deal with that. One of the things I didn't mention to in another previous video is you can literally move these tabs around now. If you want a TSS number 2, you want to move area type down to the back. So 6.3's got some nice functions in here that you can use to be able to move things around on the editor grid now. So basically, the system tables, and that's everything from area type down to the quadrangle, allows me or other selected people to go through there and develop the domains or the user domains that people can use to be able to populate the other tables. And then it also provides you the ability to load up the queries and the reports, the rules, anything that's in this Explorer panel, and take a look at them in a table format. And if you have any other questions about it, feel free to contact me, but you'll notice that there's a lot of system tables compared to the tables that you're using. So that's basically a wrap-up of why we have this much data. And I go into more detail in Chapter 11, so feel free to take a look at it. One of these days I'll update Chapter 11 to NASIS Ch. So that basically ends this one. We'll move on to Chapter 12. As always, if you have any questions, send me an IM or send me an email. We'll talk to you later.